Hi, friends. Welcome to today's video. We are back with another channeled message. And this message is for someone who is very aware of some kind of action that could be taken that would benefit them, like directly and immediately benefit them in some way. But there's some type of hesitation. It feels more like resistance to taking this action. And this whatever this is could be done relatively easily. And by that I mean like this is something that you could probably do today, something you could probably do tomorrow. I'm not seeing a barrier for access in any type of way. Like it's coming through very clearly as an internal kind of resistance. And again, I think you were aware of I'm seeing someone be like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna do this thing, or like starting next week I'm gonna do this thing, and then the time comes and it doesn't happen. And I'm seeing there are instances where there is something that like comes up in the external world that provides you with an excuse to not do it. Um, and other times it's just like I'm seeing like you're like, all right, on this day at this time I'll do it, and then that day and time comes and passes, and you're like, oh well, I'll try again tomorrow at this time. And it's like there is just a need to do it. And again, the fact that this is something that would be beneficial is really strongly coming through. One example I was given was around like exercise, like just if going to the gym is really boring to you, going to the gym isn't the only way to get exercise. You know what I mean? This is about finding more creative ways, or just ways that are more enjoyable for you to do whatever it is that needs to be done. On the note of like physical exercise, movement is another thing that came through really strongly that I think would be helpful. And I'm getting that this is like for the kind of person who overthinks a lot or tends to get stuck in like spiraling kinds of thoughts. If it's very easy for you to kind of like move downhill quickly, I'm seeing like movement, some kind of movement would be really helpful. Some type of like physical exertion, getting up, going out. If you don't regularly, if you're someone who like sits at a desk a lot, if you're not someone who gets out in nature a lot, if there's any way for you to do that. And again, this is where it's coming in, where it's like these things are maybe not the most convenient. I'm sure that if it naturally fit into your schedule to do whatever this is, then you would be doing it. But this is about taking the time to not just set the intention, but then follow through. I think you are the type of person who, if you have like a dedicated spiritual practice, I think you are well versed in the intention setting, the kind of like I'm just seeing the high priestess, even though I don't have a card out, but I'm seeing like the high priestess, where you know a lot, like a lot, a lot, sometimes maybe too much for your own good kind of a thing, because then you get into, I should say, you stay in that place of knowing, but it's like it's harder to move into that empress energy where like, all right, we're taking action and making it happen. We're affirming what we know through the action that we're taking. um and I just feel like it would help, like whatever this is. I feel like it does involve like you actually like going outside of, like actually going outside of whatever your normal routine is. Maybe this is even in terms of like comfort level, like growth is happening here in multiple ways. Putting yourself out there. Embarrassment was an emotion that was coming through a lot. This is like, if you are maybe a little less aware about why like you don't follow through on things, it may be beneficial to sit in a kind of meditative reflective space, and think about an instance where like if you had really set an intention to do something, and then when the time came, you don't know why you didn't follow through. And again, I'm getting the emotion of embarrassment very heavily, where it's like, I'll stick with the exercise example. um if at any point when you were like younger, say you were body shamed, or in some way, like health and fitness was a source of shame, um then in your adult life, that emotion can still carry through when you are even just like considering going and doing, like going and joining a gym or doing something in the public or anything related to your body and your health, and it's stirring up those repressed emotions. And so you're kind of unaware consciously of why you're avoiding these things that you know would be helpful. um but I think for a lot of you, this is like you're aware of why you're avoiding the thing, and this again exists on a spectrum. Maybe for some of you it really is just that it's inconvenient. Maybe you just live far from the gym, or you have a really, cruddy work schedule, and it's difficult and you're exhausted. um I don't know if I used the word easy at the beginning of this video when I said that it would be relatively easy to do this. What I should have said is that it's simple. Like, the solution to this is simple. I don't mean that it's necessarily easy, because even if it's just that there's no emotional tie to why this isn't being done, and it's more just out of like force of habit, and you just kind of have to find a way to remind yourself to do the thing, like that is still in and of itself difficult. If this is just not something that you're used to doing. But I'm feeling there is an emotional tie to the resistance of not wanting to do this thing. But it would be so helpful. I'm literally saying like this, it would be immediately beneficial, was the way that it came through in channeling. And it just feels like there are ways that, even if the resistance is like you don't like going to the gym, there are other ways to work out. You know what I mean? There are other ways to get exercise, even if it's just dancing like in your own house for 30 minutes or whatever. I'm shuffling just to see if there were any other details. I knew that this would be a quicker a quicker video just because of the way that the channel came through. But I should say that the way that the message came through while channeling. And all I'm getting is confirmation that this has a little bit of a tie to some shadow aspects of self. Things that maybe, I'm even getting things that you might not be completely aware like are your beliefs. And this is like, again, just to stick with like the exercise thing, if you have a really negative image of the kinds of people that you see online that really always talk about health and fitness, I'll just say there's a certain kind of an archetype of that kind of like content creator. If you have a kind of negative image about them, or every time you see them you kind of have like whatever thought runs through your mind, be aware of that, because there are ways that like, I don't have a like a fancy way to kind of word this, and my words have been failing me, it seems, so far. But it's like, if you have a negative image of what it is to be something, but it is but that is something that you would like to be, then you will subconsciously stop yourself from becoming that thing. So if you have a negative self-image of the types of people that go to the gym and the types of people that are healthy in that way, but you want to attain that type of health, just thinking negatively and having that negative image of, those types of individuals can stop you from ever attaining that yourself, because you believe that you will become that, and not just in that one aspect, but, in totality, if that makes sense. Last thing, and this is again just confirmation of what was kind of already said. This is talking about a need to kind of pull away these old structures, that whatever it is that is keeping you from taking this action is something that I think, again, if you sat down and kind of reflected, you would be able to pinpoint like where that has blocked you in other ways, or where that has held you back, where you've allowed it to hold you back in other aspects or situations in your life. And being able to kind of sort through the emotions of that time or of that experience, again, will help you understand, because I don't think there even has to be a lot of work done in like changing that perspective. I really think it is just about becoming aware about what the true source of the resistance is. Because once you can be honest with yourself about what that is, I think you will be immediately aware that that does not align with what type of belief you want to hold. Does that make sense? This feels like the kind of narrative that was created out of a limited perspective, or just something that a child would kind of think. You know what I mean? This is like um the first time that you were, hurt in some way, and a child would think that like thinking in absolutions, thinking just in like it's an all or nothing kind of a thing. But I think you're a lot more aware of the gray area now. But again, there's just that need to reflect to really get to the root. I'm going to pull an oracle of the universe for you guys before I let you go. We have number 18, Hydra, Catalyst, and 18 reduces to a 9. So let's get to the end of this loop. Let's close this out and get ready for something new. Let's see. What do we have to say? Number 18, Hydra. It says, use the situation you are going through right now as a catalyst for change. Sometimes experiences can be the catalyst for positive change. Do not wait to deal with a difficult situation. Deal with the issue now. Seek answers now, or the situation could get worse. Take proper action. And that's, again, just more confirmation of what we were kind of getting at in the reading. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope that this helped. If it did and you want to let me know, feel free to drop a like or a comment. I really do love hearing from you guys, and it helps me out on the channel with the algorithm and getting my videos out there. So I do appreciate it. I hope to see you guys back here next time. Bye.